Good evening, race fans, and welcome to race number 10 of the Herd Summer Racing League. And tonight is our final race, and we're featuring for you the Battle of the Seas. So, just to give you some perspective, after 9 races, and with this being the very final race of the series, we've got Ian Elston in first place on 443 points. Ben Knopfling in second place with 440. Ian racing for WKG, Ben racing for the Herd. So we're going to feature for you tonight a split screen battle up to the top of the Alp. I'm joined tonight by Gordon Sloan and Lee Levy. I'm James Bailey. Lee, how do you feel about this route?
This is probably the easiest route in the entire Herd Summer Racing League that we've seen to date. No, everybody knows the Alp. The Alp is terrible. It's just grinding up 22 turns. That's actually 23 turns, but they hide it from you. That last one is the worst of them all. Number 6 and number 1, I think, are actually the worst 2 turns, but it's going to be a grind, and we'll see how these guys can last and keep up with what they need to put out to not DQ themselves, yet put up a PR.
Yeah, so we're looking at officially 21 hairpins. There is definitely at least an extra little bit of a turn in a couple of them where they like to call it the same hairpin, but it's actually about 2 in my mind. But we are looking at elevation gain of 1,036 meters, or in American, that's 3,399 feet. It is
Imperial.
Imperial. I apologize. It's going to be a solid hour of probably not that much fun for the guys involved. I'm definitely not looking forward to taking part on Sunday. But just to quickly recap as the riders take off. We've got Ben already pushing down over 3.5 watts a kilo. So we've had so far we have had Volcano Climb after party. We've had two laps of TikTok. We've had 2 laps of the Richmond UCI forwards. We've had a single lap of the Mountain Route Watopia. We've had the New York KOM after party, Innsbruck UCI, Keith Hill after party, 2 laps of that horrible Italian Bologna climb, 2 laps of the Yorkshire UCI, and we are finally at race number 10 and the very final one. 17 kilometers of road to Skye. It's going to be brutal, and we love it. Gordon, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Lee summed it up there pretty well. It is going to be brutal. No primes, no KMs in this, so it's just a flat-out effort up that hill, which is going to be quite a struggle. Obviously, don't want to burn up too soon on this run down. I'm just having a look at Ben there. He appears to be on a TT bike, whether that's true or not, whether he's just on the switcheroo in the pen, that old tactic. But
I think he's done a switcheroo because I can see him on a mountain bike.
Okay, so I'm not sure what he's on. He's possibly on a mountain bike. He has dropped off the back of the group at the moment, so I'll assume he's expecting them to catch them on the gravel before the hill. But yeah, it's a tough route. Everyone kind of knows what's coming, but with 22 hairpins and probably, as Lee said, that last turn up to 1 is probably one of the longer sections. It's a right grind getting up there. And any gaps are hard to close down, but at the moment,
I'm actually wondering if Ben's being particularly clever and holding onto the mountain bike for now, and then when we hit the mud and gravel, is he going to do a quick bike swap? It's hard to tell. So we're just hitting the muddy section now, and probably see Ben make a good bit of progress through the field. How quickly can he do the bike swap, and is that actually a viable tactic?
Yeah, so I suppose there's 2 parts to that tactic. There's one, if you try and get ahead with a mountain bike and you think you're going to be quicker hitting the bottom of the climb, swap around and still have an advantage. Or you could just be using the mountain bike to take a slightly easier to the bottom of the climb and then hit. The Alp, it's all uphill, all 8% sort of plus, all the way up average. So the draft effect doesn't really count for much. So it doesn't matter if you get to the Alp a wee bit slower than the rest. If you're a bit more recovered before you hit it, you can hit it harder than the rest, you will catch them as well. So it's an interesting tactic.
It is an interesting tactic for sure.
With the rest of the weekend still to ride, I'm keeping close attention on this to see if I'm going to try it tomorrow.
I know. I think everybody's going to be watching this portion like, This could be pretty sneaky. In order to cut about an hour time, you're looking at 3.1 watts per kilo, roughly.
I think it's even higher than that. I think when I looked at my time, and granted I'm on the heavier side, I think I'd need to hold free to go sub hour. So it might be slightly different if you're a little bit lighter. But yeah, it's significant levels of power to be able to crack that hour. I think Ben's done it in 59.50. I'm not sure what Ian's PB is. Just to quickly switch to the riders, at the moment we're seeing Ben Knopfling in 21st place, moving up the field a little bit.
It looks like he is catching the back of that group, though, so it'll be interesting to see if we can get past him and get any lead.
Yeah, because Ian Elston's in the league group, currently in 6th place, and Ben is definitely catching. So, yep, it could be interesting to see if he does actually manage to make a little bit of a break prior to the start of the climb. So we will watch with interest and see how this one pans out.
Yeah, the front of this group here they're pushing out about 3 to 3.4 currently. So, we're still on gravel and mud and dirt and the yuck of this used to be the greatest route in all of Zwift, and now it's the most hated route in all of Zwift. But it is what it is, and they're turning out decent power and not going very fast.
I'd just like to point out it's actually a route rather than a route, but we'll let that one slide. Ben is still in the dusty plume of the group in front. I think he's making a little bit of ground.
I think he is. I mean, he's just maybe 10 or 20 meters. If he can just push onto the back of that, I think he'll slingshot past with the draft as well as being on the mountain bike. But that front group is still moving. As a big blob, they will move quickly on the gravel. So to give him a minute or two, see if he manages to catch.
Yeah, he's definitely right in the thick of the dust plume. I certainly on my screen definitely I can't see anything at all.
Getting an aerial view if I can of it to see what's going on, because the dust is everywhere. So yeah, same as I said, he's probably about 20 meters behind.
He's not even that. So. He's I think he's he's definitely picking up some people in front of him. And I think that's probably the main group. I think he's about 10 meters back. So the mountain bike could be paying out, but is he going to catch enough soon enough to make it worthwhile? I think it's probably going to end out about pretty much.
It's going to be close. He's just passing them now. So
50-50, I think.
And we don't have much more Loresta gravel, so I reckon he'll be hitting the hill at the sort of same time. Mm-hmm. Just a question whether he managed to get a bit of rest riding that mountain bike down the hill compared to that front group, in which case
and I think it'll also depend on how quickly he can change bikes.
That as well, yeah.
I suspect that given he's done this, he probably thinks that he can change bikes very quickly.
I'm sure he's been practicing it all day, I hear.
Oh, yeah.
Quick stop, pit stop.
And obviously, in the Formula One world, they can do pit stops in about 1.9 seconds at the very, very fastest. Can Ben do a frame change in 1.9 seconds?
I think it may be a bit longer, but if he can do it in 10 seconds, maybe it'll be a very good effort.
Yeah, he's definitely right in the pack now, moving towards the front. But we have hit the tarmac, so he might start falling behind.
He's probably just sitting in the draft for the minute, although he won't get as much draft on a mountain bike. He's probably best just to sit till it starts to climb in a second, then switch round.
Yeah, I love the idea, but I don't think it's going to pay out this time around. He's just about to hit the left-hand turn. He's just stopping now.
Pulled up.
Pulling up for bike change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Ian's at the KOM.
8, 9, 10, and we've lost Ben.
Camera angle's jumped away for a minute whilst he's been stopped. Should hopefully get going.
Ian's now in fourth place, already on
And Ben's
K1.
off there, so I reckon
Yeah.
that maybe took him 20 seconds there. That was to work on that one, but yeah, see how he hits the hill. If he took a bit of a rest coming down the hill, he might have more energy now, so be interesting.
Yeah, so I think that's probably cost him about 20 seconds or so. So I admire the idea, but I'm not entirely convinced it's going to pay off this time round. So
Nor am I.
no, he's going to have to push awfully hard to catch that gap. So we're going to have to wait and see.
Well, we're seeing 4.2 ish on the front of this this climb to start. That's pretty aggressive to the
That's
beginning.
pretty strong. I mean, my usual tactic for this climb is go a bit easier on the lower turns. If you've got anything left, start hitting it on the maybe last half dozen turns, because it's very easy to blow up on the first half, and then you're absolutely nothing left.
I agree. I think one of the tactics that I'm looking to try tomorrow is something along a split of maybe 3 to 30, where it's 3 minutes of seated and 30 seconds of standing to try and keep your power high and get a different position on the bike. It is difficult. The climb is even more difficult on a trainer where you're just locked in a rigid position. So, on a normal hill like this, you could stop and puke and do all that kind of good stuff. But here, you don't have that choice, and you can't zigzag the bike along, and you surely can't jump off and just push it up the hill when nobody's watching.
I mean, in my mind, whenever I think about doing this climb, I just think that okay, I'll sit down for a while and then I'll jump up and stand up for a while. Then I realise that I've been like thresholding for about 20 minutes, and there is no strength in my legs at all to allow me to stand and push for a bit.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about going full gas. I'm just thinking, just to get a little more advantage and just kind of change your position on the bike. Just the whole idea is to try and stay as fresh as you can on the bike, because it's so different riding this than it would be to do a hill ascent in real life. Because you see some people that you that have posted on Facebook about, oh, I've climbed this real climb, and I've done it in whatever, an hour and 12 minutes, and you look at them and you're like, I would think that you're on oxygen. How could you climb it in an hour and 12 minutes? And it takes me 90 minutes on Zwift. But I think a lot of it is the rigidity of the trainer that just makes it that much more daunting.
And I think also you will get quite a few people on Zwift who have the wheel-on trainers, have the badly calibrated trainers.
Very true.
But I think generally from the people I've spoken to who have a well-calibrated trainer, and I'm thinking especially about Tracy Taylor. So she's done the Alpe d'Huez in real life as well as on Zwift, and her times are very comparable. So I think Zwift have done a fantastic job in creating this replica, and I think from both speaking to Tracy and there are various GCN videos about this as well. I think it's about as close as you'll probably get, and certainly the gradient mapping is definitely correct, and I think they've done the best job they possibly could do. But just to quickly switch back to our riders. So Ian is currently top of the pile on Zwift Power with, let's see where Ben is. Ben is...
He's about 10th for 12th position.
Yeah.
A couple hundred metres behind by the look of it. But,
yeah, I'd say he's probably about a minute back at the moment. But what he has said on the YouTube channel is that he feels like he's got really fresh legs. Just come around turn 21 now, and he's feeling good. So we're definitely looking forward to seeing the onslaught from Ben.
See how it progresses.
Yeah, absolutely.
You certainly can't win the race in the first couple of corners, but it's easy to lose it in the first. So he's probably just pacing himself at the bottom, see how he gets on. A couple hundred metres. Looks like Ian is still pushing. He's still 3.5 up this hill, so he's not letting up. He's near the front of the C groups. I think there's maybe only one rider ahead of him.
Ian's difficulty as a newly crowned Cat B is going to be pacing. But Ben is holding pretty much solid 3-0, and I expect he'll probably try and hold that the whole way, if not slightly higher towards the end. Whereas Ian, who is capable,
he is capable. He's riding on the limit at the moment. I think it looks like he's averaging about 3.3 and still pushing up this hill, chasing one rider. So
yeah,
maybe that's his plan, to try and break him early and just keep pushing at the earlier stages.
Yeah, and Ian got upgraded from a C to a B. I think it was probably race 7, and he was very open with the rest of the group, saying, guys, I appreciate I've been upgraded to a B. I'd quite like to finish the series and see if that's okay. And everyone was very open to that. No issues at all, and certainly none from my point of view either, because Ian's been a great competitor in this series, and he's been cheering everyone else along as well, like a good old egg.
No,
So
I think that's a good idea. I mean, it's like the WKG have got their own series as well, where they kind of work a strike system, whereas if you start in a league, you'll continue in that as long as you don't go overpower for too many of the races, which I think is a pretty good system. Gives you motivation to improve as well.
And any of the races where Ian has gone over power, obviously he's had an auto DQ, but he's always been happy to re-enter and stick to the power limit. So definitely no issues from my end, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how Ian gets on with the Bs in the next series. And on that note, we will have Series 2 starting next week. Hopefully with a number of races that will suit sprinters, climbers, and people who enjoy going for the GC as well. So just to quickly run through the routes we have in place. We're going to kick it off with Watopia Figure 8 before we head to New York for Lady Liberty and 3 laps of that. Then we go to Yorkshire for Royal Pump Room 8. Which is a figure 8 of the main UCI circuit. Then we'll have 2 laps of Sand and Sequoias, so 2 trips over Titans Grove. Then we've got 2 laps of Richmond UCI Worlds, which will have 2 sprints and 2 KOMs per lap. Then we will have 4 laps of Watopia Hilly. And then the absolute beauty of 18 laps of Downtown Dolphin featuring 18 primes, which is going to be absolutely monumentally hilarious.
That race is as ugly as you are.
And then we've got the big one. Race number 8 is a Bigfoot Hills, which is a grand total of 67.5 kilometers with 700 meters of climbing. So that is going to be particularly special. But there are so many primes in that. We've got a couple of sprints and I think 5 climbs as well. And then back to a flatter one, we've got I think the shortest of our series in race 9 is Magnificent 8, and
the shortest. You didn't count Royal Pump Room. Royal Pump Room is 27.2.
I don't know if it'll be. Technically the shortest, but it won't be the shortest in time.
In which case, let's call it the fastest.
Okay, there we go.
Magnificent 8, which is 28.6k and only has about 131 meters of climbing. And we will finish things off with Everything Bagel. And anyone who's joined Gordon's meetup of Everything Bagel will realise that
there's no route badge.
You didn't get the badge, so if you join this race, you will get the badge.
You are promising a badge, are you, James?
I am promising
for everyone
a badge.
Finishing.
So definitely looking forward to the next series. I think and I hope that I've planned out the routes, so there's a bit for everyone, and I'm definitely really looking forward to taking part.
Yep, I think it'll be.
I think you may have planned out the routes to benefit one person. No,
yes.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Lately, I was thinking about you when I was planning the routes, and I knew you do really, really bad.
Who isn't thinking about me? That's the question.
And in other good news, Marcus Neal from he's the race director for the WKG group. He's accepted my challenge of a 10-week battle So Mark, the last time Marcus and I had a battle, we raced each other up this very route, and Marcus beat me by about, I think, 35-40 seconds.
Yeah.
And he set himself a PB doing so, and absolutely destroyed himself. But I came second in that one, so I'm hoping for some slightly better results this time round. So, Marcus,
yeah, hey, 2 out of 2 isn't bad, you know.
Marcus, if you're listening, we're looking forward to it, and very glad you could take part. And just to actually get back to the matter in hand, so Ian is
Currently in 8th place.
He's an
Ben.
8th on Swift. Yeah, second
Yeah.
on Swift Power, but Ben's it's getting a bit mixed up because we've also got the Cat D riders that started 5 minutes before, so they're starting to get in the mix as well.
So Ben's just about to turn 18. According to Zwift Power, now I'm not entirely sure how updated this is. So
looking at the live,
it's looking fairly accurate. So the gap is now actually stretched to about 1 minute 40. So Ian's definitely decided that he's going to hammer it hard early and hope he can build up enough of a gap early on that he can hang on to towards the top. Whereas Ben definitely looks like he's taking more of a steady approach and holding a steady power for the whole race. Whether or not Ian is able to hold that power for as long as he'd like to. I mean, he's averaging 3.3 at the moment. Ben's on 2.9, probably very, very close to 3.0. So Ian's going to have to be very, very careful because we're just about to hit 20 minutes. So it could be very, very, very close to the category limits. But we're going to have to see how this pans out. But yeah, Lee.
Yeah, we're seeing some big power from Ian. He just turned the last corner, number 17, and he was 4.1, 4.2. Now he's still holding 3.3, 3.4. So you're right. We just hit 20 minutes in the race, so it will be interesting to see where his power was prior to the KOM start.
So yeah, it's interesting. I was just doing a quick calculation on his power there. I reckon he's all right. He's under 3.2 at the moment, which is the cutoff for Cat C. So
yeah, this is
20 minutes.
This is what we're going to call in America strategery.
Strategery. Yep, that's a new word on me. That one.
Yeah, we're in the long straight on turn 16 now. So he's still holding 3.6, 3.3.
Yeah,
he's in the danger zone.
Whether he can hold this all the way up the Alp, I'm sure he will know better than us. But what sort of PB he can hit up there, and just whether he's just pacing it as well, whether he's intending on going at that pace all the way and try and break Ben and see if he eases off. Ben is pushing up as well now. I can see his number.
Yeah, looking at his RPM, he's definitely having a bit of a stand at the moment. So he's holding sort of 60, 65. Heart rate is definitely quite high. I think Ben's got a max of about 190, so I'm hanging around about 180 at the moment. He's definitely sat down again, pushing back to. Oh no,
they both. Yeah, I mean Ian's heart rate is high as well. They're both sitting around the 180.
Yeah,
I'm just having a quick look to see what their previous was, but yeah, I mean Ian's average heart rate as well in races is normally 160-ish, so. They do. They're certainly both going at it.
Definitely an epic battle going on. That's for sure.
Yeah. So Ben's RPM sort of like bouncing between about probably 60 and 70, averaging around 65. So I think he's definitely having a bit of a stand at the moment and a bit of a push.
He's grinding it. Ian's spinning away at 99, 100. So.
Yeah, but Ben's back to spinning now, so I think he's probably sat down again. He's back into the 90s, and I think he's just trying to intersect periods with probably a minute of standing, just to keep everything flowing. I think it's probably the nicest way of putting it. But yeah, no, Ben's definitely pushing. Heart rate's around 179, 180, that sort of region, and. Yeah, so obviously both races pushing. Ben's now on to just gone past turn 16. And we're going to have to wait and see what happens. So we've got a long way to go.
So just a point of note on the Zwift power graph, if you're holding 319, that's a 58:48 time.
Okay, so comparing Ian's, that he's probably very close to that. I don't know if either of them have
he's
done it
really close.
under an hour before or not, but yeah, Ian is just under the 3.2 limit by the look of it, so
Just turn 15 now.
which would be an excellent time. I am myself, I'm aiming for under 80 minutes tomorrow, so not quite competing at their level, but we've all got our own targets to aim for.
Lee Levy himself has already targeted 63 minutes from what he said to us over the last 24 hours. So we're looking forward to seeing how that one pans out.
It's going to pan out crappy, I can tell you that much right now, because that's a 3.0 average for the entire climb. So that would be a personal best.
Why would you aim for 63 when you can aim for 60?
Well, I would like to hit 60, but if I hit 60, then I'm gonna DQ.
I think, to be fair, if you hit 60 and you DQ, you won't be that upset.
No, definitely not.
Well, especially if I can get the stupid Millenstein wheels.
Well, that's the other point there. I mean, most people on this climb will be using the Tarmac Pro with the Millenstein wheels if they've got them. If not, bike selection could make a difference for some of these riders, but I think most will be on the Tarmac Pro today.
Yeah, I
although
plan
Ben
on using the
looks like
Tarmac
he's,
Pro.
Ben looks like he's still on a TT bike on stream, but I'm pretty sure he has swapped to a better bike.
I meant to ask him because his bike was white, and that Tarmac Pro is black or dark gray, one or the other.
Yeah, the thing is, though, generally, once people have joined the pen, any bike change we probably won't see on the screen. So,
correct.
I think generally, if they have it available, we'll be looking at a specialized Tarmac Pro with Millenstein wheels. So anyone who has won the Millis, which you can get at the top of the Alp with the Wheel of Fortune, I think I got mine on my 7th trip up, but I have known people to take 15 trips up before they get the Millis. Gordon, do you remember how many times did you?
I think you were definitely one of the lucky ones if you got it on 7. I believe I was 12 or 13, and then I also got it on the next ride. The very next ride, I got it 2 rides in a row, so just to rub it in, they gave me them again. But yeah, I think the average is somewhere between 10 and 12, but heard
the big Zwift myth
odds.
The big Zwift myth is that you get it on ride 13 regardless.
No, there's definitely people that have gone 20 plus rides up the Alp, which
I agree.
Must be horrible. And it doesn't seem to be related to anything to do with speed or anything like that. It's just pure luck.
I heard actually that the Herd Racing League, Herd Summer Racing League 2, the last race is actually Everesting for 8.5 trips up the Alp. Is that true?
Oh, nice. Is that 8 KOMs as well for points? That'll be interesting.
Although I know James is looking forward to the descent.
Well, if only there was a KOM section downhill. That'd be perfect.
It's the only reason I do this climb. It's like
the descent?
The 15 minutes of doing nothing but going really, really, really fast.
I think the best part was doing that ceramic speed challenge last month, and people were like, oh yeah, all you do is you wait for somebody that you know that's climbing the Alp, and then you just join them and get all those free miles downhill.
Mm-hmm.
But that mountain bike goes so slowly downhill, you can't tuck, and it's just like the slowest roll ever. Like if you don't pedal, you will actually stop on the mountain bike.
Yeah, I think last month I rode up the hill on the mountain bike just for some miles, and that's certainly not the best bike for going up the hill.
Oh heck no, it was horrible.
All for a free bike that I didn't even get. So anything.
So just to quickly touch on power, so Keith Gibson, who's actually in 3rd in the C battle at the moment, he's currently leading in terms of Zwift power. His average power is 3.2. Ian Nelson's average power is 3.3. So whether or not that sends any alarm bells to Ian, we are yet to discover. And he may have to watch his power later on in the race, or whether or not he's scuppered his chances already.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah,
are in
I'm
the
just
weeds.
having a look.
Well,
Keith has he has been doing the league.
95% of 3.3 is still okay, depending on how low 3. If it's 3.30, he's fine. If it's 3.39, not so much.
I think he was below. I did a quick calculation at the time, and I believe his 95% was about 3.15 or something. So he should sneak under just a wee bit.
Yeah, and that all depends on how hard he pushes for the rest of the climb.
Hopefully he actually wears himself out, because he's actually down in the 3.1, 3.2 now. So I think the fatigue is going to be setting in.
Yeah, and certainly Keith Gibson is actually the third rider in the league, so he's certainly going to be pushing good numbers up there as well. I'm not quite sure how familiar the riders are racing each other. They've all had a lot of trophies over the league, so I suspect they probably ride in different time zones. So it'll be interesting to compare to see how they do. Looks like Keith, he's got 6 or 7 trophies. He is only 7 points behind Ben in the league, but with only 1 point between places, it's going to be a hard catch on this course.
Yeah, so Ian Nelson's on 443 points. Ben is on 440, with Keith Gibson on 433. So I think Keith has probably left himself a little bit too much to do. But obviously, a win is a win is a win. Would be a fantastic victory on the final stage of the series. But I suspect he's probably going to have to settle for third place. And it's going to be tough to see Ben taking 3 or 4 places over Ian, but obviously we'll see how it goes. Ian could tank on the second half. He's obviously gone off particularly hard, and we'll just see how it pans out. We're not even halfway up the hill yet, so there's a lot of time to go just yet.
Ian's approaching turn 12. It's just coming to the flattish section just before it, and his power he's really right in the 2.8, 2.9 range. He just stood up a little bit and pounded it, got up to 4.0, but he's now in the 2.8 to 3.0 range. So I think the fatigue is going to set in, and it's actually going to work in his favor, probably. Believe it or not, as much as fatigue can work in your favor, keep him from DQing.
Certainly it will reduce his power a wee bit. Heart rates are still going up and up, so he's pushing over the 180s right now. So Ben's maybe gone 170s odds. So it's just time will tell who's going to fatigue first.
Yeah, well, the fatigue is definitely setting in, because his cadence was right at 100. And now he's dropped down. He seems to be struggling to get up to about 95. He's in the 93 range, which seems really, really close. But that's 7% drop right there. I hope he didn't burn himself out and just completely bonks. We have seen that in races. I know somebody personally that did that.
There's nothing worse than that feeling, but he'll try and keep pushing himself on. As long as he sees that gap still sitting at 600 meters at the minute, it'll be interesting to see over the next few corners whether that gap remains the same or stretches out or closes in. We'll get some idea of how they're both feeling towards the halfway point.
Yeah, I don't even think he can see where Ben is currently.
No, I don't know if he'll know or whether they'll keep an eye on them, or if he's just pushing on his own pace. That's what some riders like to do. They know what power they can do for an hour or 80 minutes, and they'll just head down, watch the power, just almost like go in erg mode for as a workout.
Ooh, now we're definitely standing here for Ian. He's grinding away at 65.
Oh, that's the other thing. I'm the same. Every now and again, you got to jump out the saddle, stretch the legs, move up a few gears. So we are seeing, I think it's the start of maybe the category B riders coming through, just catching up with 1 or 2 of them. So they might be a bit of an incentive just to chase a wheel for a wee bit. Although on a hill like this, the draft is absolute minimal, so it's not going to make any difference.
Yeah, 8 miles an hour. I don't think you really
I
can get a
believe
draft.
the draft on Zwift maybe kicks in somewhere around 11 or 12 kilometers, but even then, it's very marginal until you get up to sort of 20 plus.
Yeah, the relentless thing about this climb too is your little flat bits are so
They're
short.
so short. They're
I mean,
just on the hairpins, and that's
yeah,
it. And then it
it
ramps
doesn't
straight
even
back
really
up.
count as a flat bit. Whereas people like to think, oh my goodness, I have to do the epic, and it's so terrible. But the epic isn't really that bad because you get those bits of respite.
You do get flat bits up and downs, and they're just the general steepness. I think the epic probably averages, I don't know, 6 or 7% maybe. But
Yeah,
there's some
something
nice
along there.
stretches that go up and down. Whereas this, even the corners, they seem like flat, but that's only because of 5% rather than 10%.
Yeah, and then you get to that the worst part of that turn 6. That just
turn 7 to turn 6. So
just
long.
terrible, just terrible.
Although you think that's it done, but I think actually the worst is probably from turn 1 to the top. It's over a kilometer as well, and it's just
it
on
is
and on.
Because especially when it's your first time, you're like, yeah, I'm at turn 1, yay! But after you've
still went over 10 minutes.
After you've been fooled the first time, it hurts a little bit less each time. But at turn 6, where you get the walls of the ice on each side, and it's just like, the scenery here is just so monotonous too. It just drives you mad.
I think I'm with you there, Lee. Turn 6 has always been my nemesis. I think in terms of a climb, I always feel that if I can get past turn 10, I know I can finish it. But then I get to turn 6 and it just takes so long.
Yeah, I think that's half the problem, the length of the climb. I mean, I think I've only quit maybe once on the Alp, because once I'm halfway up, there's no way I'm stopping till the top. So, just for that free ride back down, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, I used to use this when I would do just trainings, and I'd ride up, and then it was easier to quit because, well, you had to go off to work or whatever. So it's like, oh, training's done, I'm over. But yeah, I agree. It is tough, and the thing about it too is the mental toughness that it takes just to ride a bike, competitively. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're competing in a race or if you're trying to better yourself on a workout. I mean, we've all seen James suffer on his Spinfest workouts, and that was great fun, especially where his jersey was breaking open and he was trying to flash the camera. I mean, he was trying. I think he was trying to make a little bit extra money there, but
could be. If anyone's not seen that video, it might still be online somewhere.
I was. It reminded me of that song "Blinded by the Light."
Yeah, it was a particularly embarrassing moment of my life, but
it happens.
It was quickly fixed and all was well. But yeah, no, that week of workouts was particularly brutal.
Yeah, but if anyone wants to try and replicate that week of workouts, good on you, because there was a couple of very horrible ones in there.
Yeah, it was, but I give James a lot of props for doing those workouts and streaming them, because it's basically saying, hey, I'm owning this. It gives you an extra incentive not to bonk and not to give up. And you think, oh, it's not like millions of people are watching, but it could be 2 or 3 and 5, or you don't want to your audience down.
Certainly entertained me for a wee while.
and to be honest, the main point of doing it was, look, guys, I can do this, so you can do it as well.
I agree.
And they were particularly horrible. And granted, the fourth one I couldn't finish because that was absolutely ridiculous. But the first 3 were generally very, very hard. But if you put yourself to it and you push yourself, you can get through it. And yeah, they were mainly fairly disgusting. But if I can do it, then so can an awful lot of other people.
That's what workouts are for, though. They're going to be disgusting. They're going to push you to your limit. That's how you improve. And I suppose the good thing of workouts, they can be tailored to each rider, so you're not going to have to push the same power as someone that's stronger
Oh,
than you.
of course.
It's all totally tailored to the rider, so you and I could do the same workout. It will look the same, but we'll be riding at our own values, own power output.
Yeah, the interesting thing too is what herd actually is. You know, herd is beginning and intermediate riders, and James really took the bull by the horns and started the herd racing league. And I know at first a lot of people were like, "Oh, racing, I don't want to get involved with that. It's just, gonna be like kicking me in the nuts every time." And it really isn't about that. And what we've got in the herd group is different than any other group that I've been around, because you can get on there and be like, "Oh man, I just had a crappy day. I look at this, I did this and it was terrible." And instead of people going, "Aha, you suck," and go F yourself or all that, everybody's like, "Hey, you'll do better tomorrow, stick with it." It's all positivity. And it's the same way with the racing league. Yeah, I mean, I want to do better than the next guy, but it's really, at the end of the day, you're racing yourself. And everybody wants to help you get better. So and streaming those workouts and people saying, "You know what, I'm going to give that a shot." So, and I know Stuart has been helping just an absolute ton of people in herd with different workouts. Some of the ones that he's had, the canned workouts where he's made for herd, and then doing personalized workouts for everybody. He's working on a try training plan for me, and that's going to be kicking in about 5 weeks, I think it is. I think we start training for my November triathlon in about 5 weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. I've been working with some of his other workouts, and it's all about getting better and how you can focus in and get an enjoyable ride and a good workout and get healthy and strong and fight the clock. We're all fighting the clock.
And just like pull you up on that point on Lee about how supportive the group is. It's like when we had the 2 laps of Bologna, I came second last, but as soon as I posted results, Ernst Leckes came on and went, "I was really impressed with how you held your cadence the whole way up. You're holding mid-90s. Great job. You did really, really well." And I came second last. I practically lost the race. But,
right.
Ernst was on with, saying that I did really well with how I held my form and all those bits. So, and that's just like one story about how supportive the group's been, because it's all about supporting, nurturing, and encouraging. It doesn't matter if you're a Cat D, it doesn't matter if you're a Cat C. 99% of us aren't Cat A racers, but
no,
it's all about encouraging and supporting the rest of the group. And I think that's where the group does a fantastic job. But
I agree.
Just to quickly switch back to a race. Ben has reached the halfway point. He's over turn 8. I think Ian is probably around 9. I don't know. Lee, you've been watching him.
Ian is coming up to 8.
Flying.
He is flying. He looks like the gaps. It's hard to tell. It's coming in and out, but he's up to nearly maybe a kilometre ahead. So that gap does still seem extending. We've still got quite a way to go. We're probably not even at halfway point now. So, but both.
I don't think Ben's at turn 8. Ian's coming to turn 8.
Just having a look where Ben is. Ben is between 10 and 9. So Ben is.
Ben went over turn 10 about a minute ago.
Okay, yeah, because we're just coming up to the last bit of turn 9, or the end of turn 9, coming up to turn 8 for Ian. He's still, he's around 2.5, 2.6, so there's definite fatigue building up here.
Yeah, Ben looks sort of similar. He's hovering around this sort of 2.5, 2.6 as well, but
cadence
both getting
down. His heart rate is down to 177, so that's good.
That's probably positive, or maybe he's easing slightly himself, knowing if he's just watching Ben. Although I'm sure he's trying to beat Keith as well. I'm just trying to see where they both are on the road now. So it looks like Ian's actually fallen back a wee bit on the road. He's in 5th place now.
Yeah,
Um,
he's 10th overall in the race, 5th on the board.
Fifth
Keith
one's
is in
with power.
first. Yep.
So we got Richard Hay, Keith, Hall, and Paul Vallant overtaking him now. So whoever that is, him just pacing it. He's really racing against against Ben. So he knows he doesn't have to push too much. Just keep ahead of Ben, and that's all he needs to do. Which is sometimes nice when you're in a race. Within a race, you're just having a look, and you've only got one thing to focus on. As long as he keeps that gap back to Ben, then he'll be fine. He doesn't have to race to beat anyone else. Which is a bit.
Although Ian will have an advantage because coming up fast from behind is Dan Pedrosa that can give him a draft.
There is, although I don't think there'll be much draft. I'm just having a look at the A's and the B's. If anyone gets an advantage from a draft up here, tell me what the tactic is, because I must be doing something wrong. Unless I get the bungee rope out and maybe grab onto someone's wheel. But yeah, they're both going up. I mean, the riders are just spread all over the place here with this series, with the D's through to the A's all start off 5 minutes apart, which on a climb like this, normally the A's and the B's will be past everyone. I suspect the A's are going to finish top of the pile here. Although the B's are going pretty well. We do have Kevin Flood from the herd up on the front. So they have passed everyone now, but we do see Dan and a couple more A's passing through the field. But
yeah, those A's are pretty speedy. I mean, I see Max is coming up behind Ian a little bit here.
I'm gonna look where Max is. Max is a B rider, sort of
Correct.
top end B rider. So yeah, I mean he's been averaging 3.6 all the way up here, so they will catch him up.
Hey, he's just your average 53-year-old, but climbing isn't his bag.
If I can ride like that when I'm 53, I'll be very happy. So that's my aim.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, he's 54. I'm 53.
Okay.
I forgot. That's what happens when you get old.
You forget your age.
Yeah.
You just stop counting.
Who cares? I'm old.
Well, especially when someone's going to ask you to ride your birthday miles. You don't want to get too high.
Yeah, I don't understand that. And I'm just going to ride my birthday minutes from now on.
Yeah. That's the way it should work. Or should count down the way or something. I don't know. 100 minus your age. Surely cycling should get easier as you get older. I don't know how that works.
I'm going to Benjamin Button it.
A strange thing is like generally in cycling, we talk about kilometres, yet whenever it's your birthday, you always have to do the miles.
You're forced to do it in miles. No matter where you are, is that sort of worldwide rule?
It's the unwritten law of cycling. All right, well, Ian looks still pretty good. I mean, we're just turned turn 7, so this is quite a long bit here too. This turn 7 to 6. This is probably
I think that's the longest one on here.
Yeah, it's the whole worst.
It's a slog, and as you say, the scenery's nothing too exciting. You get those big snowballs up both sides, so you just got to focus head down and keep the power. But yeah, kind of feel once you get past that turn, it feels like you're actually getting somewhere. And you can reevaluate and see what you've got, if there's anything left to push for the final half dozen turns. But no, Ian's looking very good. The gap's about 900 metres at the minute. It's kind of holding at that, so
he's running about 5 seconds behind Paul. And Paul's just in front of him on Zwift Power as well. So
just see where if Paul's pulling away. I didn't catch when Paul passed him because obviously Ian was at the front. But yeah, I mean they're sort of neck and neck with Paul at the moment. Not sure where Paul is in the league, how many rounds he's done. I don't see him in the top 10 or anything, so I'm not quite sure where he is, but he's another hard rider. Oh, it looks like he's back in 20 seconds, so it's actually probably quite interesting, slightly lower down the league. The points are quite close, so he probably does have a few places, probably catch up with it. It looks like Lee Levy, 19th. That'll be his target, I would have thought.
Yeah, that Levy guy, he's trying to hit the top 15.
That's not going to happen. No chance.
You're so hurtful.
Yeah, he's got to get past Robert Homer to hit that top 15. So we shall see.
Rob Homer is probably. I personally think Rob Homer is probably the most improved herd racer of this series.
I would 100% agree with that as well. I was racing with him top end of D, it seems, 6 months ago, and now he's trying to push up the top end of C, so he's done amazing.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we were talking about too. You know, when you start in racing and you start as a D, your goal is to get to a C, and when you're a C, you're trying to, well, come on, you still want to win a damn C race. You don't care if you turn into a B, you just want to win a C race.
Yep, definitely. And just coming back to the earlier point about how horrendous turn number 7/6 is. The one good thing about that, I think it's probably about 1 to 1.2 kilometers for that. What I think is actually really a double turn, because you go up for a while and then you turn a bit right. It feels like when you turn right, it should actually be the end of a turn, but
Right.
no, it doesn't count. You've got to keep on going. That there is a little bit of the false flat there that gives you a little bit of hope. I think it drops down to about 5%, but not for long enough.
No, no, we've passed that point right here.
Yeah. But it gives you a little bit of respite, even though it is awfully long. And when you're climbing this hill, it's all about just getting to the next sort of numbered turn. And with number 6, you feel like there's actually 22 turns in this route. But sadly, there's 21. And turn number 6 takes an awfully long time to get to. But Ben is in between 8 and 7 at the moment, and he's not got too far to go before that absolute shocker.
Yeah, he's just he's probably about a third of the way past turn 8 at the moment, so he's still averaging the same sort of power, maybe dipping down a wee bit. We've seen him dip down to about 2.4, but sort of bouncing between about 2.4 to 2.8, which I would just have a look at Ian. He's probably somewhat similar. The gap is it's about the same, maybe slightly growing, so I bet Ian might be edging a bit more power ahead of him.
Yeah, Ian just took a little bit of a power break there. He was down around 140 in watts, so
Which
it's
slight
little bit.
kind of natural, and of course this song you have to have a little bit of let up every now and again.
Yeah, I'll be taking a lot more than the 3-second breather.
I think I'll do every second turn push. Maybe try that approach. Yeah,
I'm just hoping that I ride this ride with Bailey so that I can just hook onto his bike and let him power me up.
Oh, that'll be the next challenge if you're both riding the same day, and that'll be interesting. But I know a lot of the Cat D riders are riding tomorrow lunchtime, so hopefully gives that me some motivation to chase them up the hill. Although, honestly, myself, I'll probably just be looking to set a PB and try and hang on to any wheels I can.
Yeah, I'll see how I get on in the morning. I would like to get it done and out of the way tomorrow, because Sunday I will be leading the metric century, so I won't have the chance to do the Sunday race. And I know John Bowser in D, he's been killing it in these last couple of races, and yeah, he made the podium last week, which was pretty incredible for a newbie. Really, I mean, he just started racing at my insistence. He started the TTT, and then he jumped in on the Herd Summer Racing League. So he's really trying to get to that top 3 and a medal in his class. And
I think probably that's how everyone finds it. I mean, a lot of riders they've never raced before. A lot of people don't race outside and come to Zwift online and wondering what the racing's all about. And that might be jumping into the TTT, which it's a team event, but it's fast, it's good fun, or it might be the hard racing series. But I'd have to say, I think everyone that's tried it has thoroughly enjoyed it, and it does push you, and it's a bit of fun, competitive between the riders.
It's different. It is definitely fun. I do like the team aspect of it, because you work as a team, you finish as a team, and that's the whole concept of it. It's a definite unique event, and I do enjoy it a lot. But I know John is looking forward to doing the race tomorrow, because we're in Texas, and Texas heat is pretty good. He races in his shop outside, and he did the TTT race on Thursday night. It was about 101, 102 degrees in his shop, so
that's not so good.
No,
it reminds me of doing a TTT last year, and 30 degrees Celsius here.
Yeah, it's the same race down in Sheffield. It was 34 degrees Celsius, which is about I think 92, 93 Fahrenheit. So doing
It
it
was not pleasant.
doing it in
No.
100, 101, so that's like 37, 38 Celsius. It's unbearable heat. So the fact he did the TTT in that sort of climate is
Yeah. Yeah,
well done.
he was really dying at the end, and he was like, I'm just not going to push that hard at the end here, so go on with it. But he hung in there hard the whole way, and his heart rate was up probably a good 8 to 10% over norm.
Yeah, I'm sure that's all you can ask from riders when they're riding on their max. They'll go as hard as they can, and certainly TTT encourages that. Riders will push to stay with the team.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I will say that has been one of the biggest improvements in my overall fitness on the bike is riding the TTTs. And then, last year I started riding them and had no clue what I was doing, and started getting better. And my buddy James kept throwing me onto a more challenging team and a more challenging team. And there were a couple of times I was holding on for dear life. And that will, riding at or above threshold for a full hour is hard. It is definitely pretty hard.
Yeah, I think the one good thing about TTTs, a good like entry level race, is that it is basically sort of like a high paced group ride. You're generally looking, assuming like the teams are relatively equal, you're looking at holding threshold for an hour, which is a really good workout on its own. But also it's not crazy paced, so you're not looking like going into the orange and red for like 5 minutes. You're just holding yellow for a long period of time.
That's the thing. It is just threshold. You're not doing sprints and things like that, so you can try and pace it a wee bit yourself. And it does vary from week to week. Team varies week to week, so some weeks you might find it a bit easier, but other weeks you'll be hanging on for dear life at the back. But that's what makes it is a good workout.
Yeah, and of course, the one thing that you can always count on in Zwift is some weirdness, or Zweirdness as I like to call it, because if you come up on a team, I know I have experienced it, is the sticky draft. You're cruising along, you're right there with your team, and you come across a slower rider, and you go to pass them, and you didn't bring up your power just quick enough to break that sticky draft, and you are stuck on them, and your team goes on by.
I mean, that can happen in any sort of race if you're not on the ball. And even if someone makes a breakaway and you don't follow them straight away and get stuck behind a rider, then you seem to put a sprint effort out just to get past. And it's even more exaggerated in a TTT when you're having to pass another team of 7 or 8 riders. That tends to be the point where I blow up, where I've been pushing threshold for half an hour, 40 minutes, and then I'm getting asked to push past another team. So, it's,
Yeah, and when you were doing like these herd summer racing league races, and you're cruising along, if you're in a pack and the pack decides that it's time to do a breakaway, if you are not paying attention and watching 100% of the time, and you see that spike in power and react immediately, there's a 3-second lag in your power. So consequently, you if you don't see that power and it already spikes up, that's 3 seconds down, and then you push your power. You're now 6 seconds down.
Yeah.
It's over.
That certainly reminds me of a ride that James had, I think, recently, ride the jungle, where he was trying to follow a wheel that kept spiking in front of him, and sure that put some pain on his face.
A particular German wheel that was happily holding like 2.5 for a couple of minutes, and then our very good friend Ernst was he likes to stand up like once every couple of minutes for about 30 seconds, and when he stands up he holds about 3.54 watts a kilo, and I had no idea that this was going to happen, and then all of a sudden I'm holding sort of like 220, and then I have to like push down 300 for a bit just to catch back up again. But I got him in the end.
And then you do it again and again.
Yeah,
but that
will wear you out. That will wear you out.
I dropped him on bridge, so I got my own back.
But yeah, I mean that probably pushed you to one of your best results. Otherwise, you wouldn't have done that well. You would have sat with the group. But
I think it was like a battle for like 30th place. And I'll often say to people who find being towards the bottom of their category quite demoralising, it's always about picking the battles that you have in your race, because you'll often find yourself in groups. And there was me, Ernst, and I think another 3 or 4 riders, and we were together for a long time. And then on the last lap, I decided to go for a bit of a breakaway with about 5k to go, and I managed to hold off the vast majority of riders. And I think in my mind, that was probably the best race I've ever had. I definitely wasn't anywhere near winning the race. But I had a really, really good battle in the middle of it, and I think that's like one of the most important things to bear in mind when you are entering these races. It's not necessarily about winning; it's about joining other people who are of a similar ability and competing against them.
Yeah, I think that's totally it. It's the same way the WKG League works as well, where you're not battling against first if they're ahead of you. You're battling against the riders around you, and what's encouraging is seeing them every week. So you can compare one week to the next. You see the same 5 or 6 faces every time on a race. So that is your competition. You don't need to worry about the rest. That's your target. That's what you're aiming for.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to quickly catch up on our riders, Ben has finished the horrific turn 7 to 6. And he is not too far away from number 5. Lee, how's Ian getting on?
Ian is doing wonderful. He is past 4. He's about halfway to 3. So really getting into the meat of the matter here. And I'm sure he'll have a nice little sprint to the end when he sees the turn 1 and then on turn 0, if you will.
Yeah, that last turn's not that much fun, because you get to turn 1 and then you still got like a whole kilometre to go, and it's a tough old slog up to the eventual flat just before the banner.
His heart rate's come down nicely. He's around 169, 170, right in that range. He's holding 85-ish RPM, and he's around 2 watts per kilo currently. So
he definitely does seem to calm down a wee bit from a fast start. So
yeah, I mean, hitting it hard at over 4 watts on the first couple of turns there, that will wear you down, but it's still pretty impressive.
It looks like he's dropped to maybe 6 overall at the moment, but he probably knows he doesn't need to push now. He doesn't need to come first in this race. He's done that in another 8 or 9 rounds we've had already, so he can take his moment and glory at the moment. As long as he keeps that gap to Ben, will probably be his main focus.
Yeah. I wonder if he's got Zwift power up, because I'm sure he's not showing up in the rider list on his screen.
Yeah, I mean, when you climb the Alp here as well, you only see 1 or 2 riders around about you, so it can sometimes be a bit hard to judge where people are. But Zwift Power is another good shout. Anyone that's racing regularly on Zwift, it's a good idea to look at Zwift Power just to see where you are, where the riders around you, see what wheels you need to chase.
It's
not
pretty
the ones
incredible
that are
how accurate the live result is.
The estimated time as well is normally pretty good.
Yeah.
On rolling courses, it's not the best of, or fluctuates quite a bit, but it's pretty accurate. And if it's not accurate, it's normally the same for all riders, so you can see that gap between yourself and other teams. Certainly comes in useful for the TTT events where you are comparing yourself directly with other teams, which at the moment, Ian's shown a finish time of about 1 hour and 12 minutes. Compared to Ben, which I believe is showing about 1 hour and 16. So, yeah, it's looking about a sort of 4-minute gap, which looks to be roughly what we're seeing on the road as well. There's about
very quiet
between them.
Behind Ian, you have Lisa Jones sitting there. I mean, she is only like 13 seconds finish time estimated behind Ian, and
yeah, and she'll be pushing to catch Ian now. I mean, once you've got a wheel in sight, you've got something to chase. So. That's what I always find. Whilst there's a wheel in sight, you're going to chase it.
Yeah, she's only 2 seconds behind him on the course. That's a pretty solid effort from Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa's having a very solid climb. But a little shout out to Keith Gibson, who's currently 3rd in the standings. He could find himself 2nd after tonight, but he's second out the Zwift Power registered Cs at the moment. Richard Haig is out of the Herd of Platypus team, our Zone 1 TTC team. He appears to have about a 12-second lead. I don't think he's got far to go now, actually. Just having a quick look.
Just having a look at that, could be very close from second to third with Ben and Keith. Looking at the league table, there's a 7-point gap in it, but the way Keith's going at the moment, he might be picking up first or second in points with Ben down to about 10th. It could be very interesting finish between those two in the league.
Yeah, I think that the top two are probably around about turn one at the moment. I think they've probably got about a kilometre to go, so not too far to go for the leaders. Lee, whereabouts is Ian? Is he around turn 3, turn 2?
Now we are coming up on turn 2. He's within sight of turn 2, and it looks as though the very front there, it looks like Richard and Keith are in the middle of turn 0, essentially.
Yeah. It looks like is Lisa just passed Ian there as well, by the look of it, and pulling away possibly.
Yes, she is.
So again, whether he's just happy with his position, he doesn't need to chase anyone on this hill now. So, but certainly Lisa, and I'm not sure if it's maybe a Category B rider. I'm not sure. She's with someone, but I'm not quite sure who it is.
Yeah, it's Max Schmansky.
Okay. So yeah, I mean that's a great wheel to follow. If you find a rider from the category in front of you, even you're not getting a draft, it gives you that little incentive just to push and keep on the wheel.
He's a perfectly normal 54-year-old.
Yeah, darn right. And then 30 seconds up the road is our friend Chris Shelton.
Yep, he's flying through the field as well. So we've got a couple of the B riders actually finished by now. Daniel Leven looks like was the winner, and Kevin Flood as well from the herd. So good job on them. Averaged 4 kilo up there. Looks like they finished in around the hour, which is pretty impressive for this route.
For sure.
Yeah,
Ian's doing really, really well. I mean, he's about a third of the way through this turn 2, heading to turn 1. So he knows he's in the home stretch. I'm sure he's just looking to push on so he can stop riding.
Yeah, as soon as you can see the finish loop in your little side map, you haven't got too far to go. But no, definitely a big shout out to Lisa Jones, because she's putting in a fantastic climb. She's a self-confessed climber, but even so, she's held brilliant power all the way up, and that's going to be a fantastic result for her.
And she's done well in all the races too. I mean, she's right at the top of that leaderboard, so she's done very, very well.
Yeah. Let's see where she is in. I don't know if she's done she has done all the events, but yeah, she's looking good. Managed to get a couple of trophies in the rounds, but the C category probably is the most competitive category, to be fair. So it's tough. There's always riders going for the sprints and the KOMs. So I would have thought anyone riding in C's got their work cut out to be near the top end of that.
If we just look at the ladies' points at the moment, we've got Marjolaine de Vleher in first place on 391. Tracy Taylor is in second on 361, and then Lisa is in third on 359. So a good result tonight will
could be pretty close with Tracy, definitely.
I think Tracy will have to push pretty hard to keep up with Lisa, and looking at Lisa's power, I think Tracy may struggle, but we'll see. I think she's looking at riding on Sunday afternoon, but we'll see how Tracy gets on there as well. But
could be an interesting one there. If Lisa keeps going and gets a good haul of points today, then pressure will be on Tracy to follow up on Sunday.
Yeah, I think pretty much Marjolaine's guaranteed the win as long as she finishes this weekend. But it's definitely a really good battle for second place.
Ian's coming up on turn 1. He can smell it. He sees that little triangle now. So
the gap is it's kind of holding about a kilometre, 1.1, 1.2. So he has just gradually stretched it out, but it's going to be a hard catch now from this sort of distance with one turn to go. I don't think there's any chance of coming back. But
it's be a James Bailey-esque sprint to come close.
It would be a sprint, yeah. I mean, if you had a sprint for the last kilometre, then you might be able to get there.
That's a bit too far for me. I sort of like stop after about 250 meters.
It looks like Ben, he's just approaching turn 3, so he's probably a couple of turns behind now, but it's very slow even from that last turn. Turn 1 up to the banner, I think it's nearly a kilometre, possibly even more, so feels like when you're nearly there once you turn, but it is still a slog. And certainly, there's thankful there if you're not racing against one or two of these riders, will still be racing all the way up to the line, which is going to hurt. Yeah, just thankful at this point. If you are on your own, you can take a bit of a rest up to the line and just enjoy it.
Yeah, I can tell you that I don't think Ian is inspired by the giant statues. He's kind of slugging along here. Sherry just passed him. Sherry Gibson just passed him and kind of walked away, opened up a 4-second gap on him. So I think he's just content where he's at and happy with finally finishing.
Definitely. I mean, he's got
finishing this climb.
He's got what looks like about another 600 meters to the next rider, so he's probably content. It looks like he's in 8th place possibly overall, so I don't think we're going to see a sprint finish from Ian, and he doesn't need to, but he's done a terrific job.
In terms of Ben, he's in a bit of a herd sandwich. We've got Alan Cheville 7 seconds in front with Dennis Wade 17 seconds behind. So I know Ben's feeling a little bit sore at the moment. Whether or not he's got enough to try and wheel in those 7 seconds, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it might benefit him in the league if he can close them down, because it is going to be very close for him and Keith. Looks like Keith has just finished at the moment, so 2nd place for Keith, so that should get him 49 points. It just depends where Ben finishes now behind them.
Yeah, top 4 have finished, so
not far to go now. So Ben's halfway between turn 3 and 2. Ian must be really close to the finish now.
Yes, he's almost to the point where he can see the banner. He'll be getting the wheel of misfortune.
Almost see the banner, but probably only halfway up that last section. So you keep thinking the banner's coming and coming, but it's not till the last 200 meters till you actually see it.
Yeah, he's still in the climb portion. He's at the 10% portion. Yeah, not the flat section.
This is all the climb portion, apart from the last 50 meters.
Yeah,
there is no let up.
He's standing up. He's grinding away. 57 RPM.
Going for a sprint finish,
Yeah, our good friend Bailey used to be friendly with that RPM range.
That used to be, that used to be James's perfect cadence, 50 to 60 RPM.
So James, do some high cadence, and he says, "I'm doing 60. That's high."
Nothing wrong with grinding if it gets you to the top.
No. As long as you don't need to use your knees in 20 years' time, you'll be fine.
Last little bit.
Still, I can't see the banner yet, though. So I mean, that's just an absolute slog. The banner only comes into sight just as you come over the top.
It's the last little bit that takes forever.
Yeah.
He's there, man. He's there.
It's even worse if you're racing against another rider at this point, because you think you hit the turn and you think, shall I start sprinting now? And you really don't want to start, because for most riders, it's probably 5 to 10 minutes still to climb just up to the banner. So
11%. He can see the banner.
No, it looks like Ben
7, 6, 5, 4.
Turning corner 2.
Flat. 0%. He's flying along. Here comes the wheel of misfortune. Let's see what he gets.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we'll see it, but
we may not see it now.
I believe Ian's probably got most things from the wheel. He may get an extra pair of gloves or hat.
Well done, Ian. Good finish. And Ben is into his last 2 turns, so he's over turn 2. Not too far to turn 1, and then he's got the kilometre drag up the hill to the finish. So we will obviously
63.50 for that climb there.
Okay, that's a good time. I don't know what his personal best was. In some ways, it probably wasn't a personal best, because to set a personal best, you kind of have to roll easy into the bottom of the hill and then go for it. Whereas this group started off hard; they were going 3 or 4 watts all the way up to the bottom of the hill. But but Ben looks like he's in the grind mode at the moment. 50 RPM, 58. Must be out the saddle, seeing if he's got anything left to push up. or just stretching the legs, try and stop them cramping up.
Yep, 1.5 turns to go, so nearly up to the home straight.
Just seeing where we are. I mean, we've got a lot of riders still out on the hill as well, from Cat A to D. I mean, terrific effort from the Cat. Cat D's probably still going up the hill. There's some riders further back. I can see still riders round about turns 9 and 8. So it's an achievement for anyone for getting up this hill. Certainly, I remember the first time I went up it. I think it took me nearly 2 hours. So it's a good marker to see improvements, though.
You were 2. I was 2.5. I think I had at least 2 breaks on my way up. I think I had a break every hour.
Yeah, that's not good. And then you see riders that can go up this in 50 minutes. It's a bit demotivating, but it's certainly an achievement when you get to the top.
Ben is just approaching turn number 1. So this will be the 21st hairpin out of 21 with just the drag towards the end.
Just remember, anybody that finishes in front of me is a cheater. That's my theory.
Well, on the plus side, that'll mean I don't cheat. Guessing by the silence that you haven't worked out what I actually meant.
Oh, sorry, I was answering
Still
that.
struggling.
I was answering fan mail from Max Schmansky.
Yeah, I've not been able to look to see how the YouTube chat's been going, but I presume they've been entertaining themselves there.
And Swift Power is significantly behind. It's about to update for me here, and wonder how many more will finish.
I find it's normally sort of 2 or 3 minutes behind, but it's a good marker to see where you're going live in an event.
Yeah, no, definitely good.
In
Yeah,
total, looks like we've
63-minute
got,
climb for Ian on that before the game tore me away and gave me random people to watch descending the hill.
Yeah, so it looks like we've got 36 riders on Swift Power. 1 or 2 of them have maybe stopped. I'm not sure. Due to technicals and things, they may have stopped near the start, but yeah, there's still riders around the 15k mark. This course isn't long in terms of distance. It's only about 17, 18k, but time it takes you to do it is certainly a long part.
Yeah, I think my secret next time is I'm just going to ride in the A category.
That is quite a valid tactic to get points, and there's normally only half a dozen A riders out there, so if you want to get yourself a lot of points, certainly go A. Just expect a very lonely ride. That's the only problem.
Just a few times to call out. Paul Vance went sub 60, 59.25. Nice. Lisa Jones was 62.11, so not far away at all. Ian Elston, as we know, was 63.50. F. Alberto, who I think has recently joined the Herd Racing League, he was 67.25. Again, another great time. And Ben is almost halfway between turn 1 and the banner, so he's not got far to go at all. Keep pushing, Ben. You can get there.
Yeah, he's only got a few minutes now. We'd have thought to go. But yeah, some great times there, and I'm sure some of them will have set new PBs on that sort of course. I mean, the Cat A's were doing it in under 50 minutes, so
yeah,
the B's just over.
I think Lisa Jones's time is probably a PB. I'm not sure if she's done 62 before.
2.9 average there for Lisa Jones, which over a course of this length, that's pretty good for Cat C.
Yep, definitely.
Looks like Dan Pedroza took that the A category with a 47.09 climb. That's pretty damn solid.
That's some quick. That's a 4.1 average all the way up. So
my knees just hurt even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Dan also in the league as well. He is near the top. I don't know if he's top of the A group. Let's just have a quick check. He is. Yeah, he is leading the A group. 437 points. So that looks like another gold trophy. He will be the overall winner of Cat A. So well done to Dan there.
Yeah, I know Dan was a little bit disappointed that Michael Constantine wasn't able to take part last weekend, because I think the two of them were pretty much neck and neck
They were
up to that stage.
Yeah. They were, by the look of it, just probably going into last week, there was 40 odd points between them, so they would have been neck and neck on this as well up the Alp, which would have been a good battle.
Yeah, definitely. So sadly that didn't happen. But
just having a look through the other categories as well. They are all quite close. Kevin Flood, who I believe did he come first today in Cat B? Where we got
I think
the
he was
results. Second. So it's interesting. I mean, the top three in Cat B, there's only 1 point between them all. So depending how the Toby and Mark Long do tomorrow or the weekend, Sunday, it could be very interesting in Cat B. So similar for Cat C and Cat D, they're all pretty tight at the top.
So Ben is just about to crest the very top of the climb, and he can now see the banner, and I suspect he'll be very, very, very happy, as most people are when they get to the top of this climb and realise it's almost over. And he's thrown down the sprint. Good old boy. Well done, Ben. 700 watts all the way to the end. Well done, Ben. Good job. So I think with that, it concludes our category C shootout for the night. Thank you very much to Lee Levy and Gordon Stone for joining me tonight. Thank you, as ever, to Damien Bates for providing these fantastic pictures we've been able to bring to you live. Thank you to Ben Knopfling and Ian Elston, and to all of our riders who've taken place over the 10 weekends of the Herd Summer Racing League. We've loved it. We've really enjoyed commentating on the entire series. But thank you very much, and good night.
Before you do that, James, I'd just like to jump in quickly. Say thank you very much for all your hard work and putting on these races. And to Gordon and Lee and Ed and everyone else who's commentated. It's been absolutely exceptional. I'm sorry today was a little bit anticlimactic, but we got there in the end. Huge congratulations to everybody in every category. Everyone's absolutely killed it over the last couple of weeks. So I just wanted to say on behalf of everyone I have no right to speak on behalf of, thank you very much for all your hard work.
Yeah, I will second that. Yeah, you've done a magnificent job for your looks. Who would have thought that you could put together something this great?
I'm going to choose to remain silent at this stage. Thanks, everyone, and thanks especially Ben for being our rider on the course numerous times, and for all your hard work as well. And with that, I thank everyone, and good night all.
Thank you.